There is a soup served in the most expensive restaurants in Asia that can cost a fortune and has been a symbol of status for centuries.
But the secret of what it's made from will turn your stomach. And the price paid to get it is measured in human lives.
Things you've never seen now revealed.
This is World in Detail.
In the darkness of a cave in Southeast Asia, dozens of meters above the ground, a man clings to a shaky bamboo pole. He has climbed up here in the dark with a flashlight to scrape a small white cup off the cave wall. It is dangerous, terrifying work, and every year men doing exactly this fall to their deaths. So what is he risking his life for? A little cup of dried bird saliva, because that white cup, made entirely of the hardened spit of a tiny bird, will be turned into one of the most expensive foods on the entire planet: bird's nest soup. A single bowl can cost $100 in a luxury restaurant, and it has been a symbol of wealth and status in Asia for more than 400 years. This is the strange, unsettling story of how bird spit became an $8 billion industry.
Let's understand where this nest comes from. There's a tiny bird called the swiftlet, about the size of a swallow, that lives in the caves and cliffs of Southeast Asia, in places like Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia. And this little bird has a very peculiar way of building its nest. Most birds use twigs, leaves, straw. The swiftlet does not. It uses its own saliva. Over about 35 days, the male secretes a sticky substance from the glands under its tongue and weaves it in the air into a little cup glued to the cave wall. The saliva hardens into a kind of white cement. It is inside this little cup of dried spit that it keeps its eggs. And it is this little cup that becomes the most expensive soup in the world.
And the numbers on the price are jaw-dropping. Ordinary white nests cost around $2,000 per kilogram, but the rarest ones, the so-called blood nests, reddish in color, can exceed $10,000 per kilogram. $10,000 for a kilo of dried bird saliva. To give you a sense, that's more expensive than many precious metals. Hence the nickname, the caviar of the East. And China is, by far, the largest consumer. More than 90% of all the bird's nest in the world is eaten there. Hong Kong has become the world center of this trade, a billion-dollar industry built on top of something that, if you found it on the wall of your house, you'd call an exterminator to remove.
Now, the obvious question: why is something like this so expensive? And the answer has two sides. The first is tradition. For more than 400 years, since the emperors of China, it has been believed that this soup is good for your health, your skin, your youth, your immune system. And it's important to say this clearly: science does not confirm these benefits. It's a cultural belief, very old and very powerful, but a belief, not a scientific fact. Even so, this centuries-old belief drives enormous demand. And the second side, the one that truly sends the price soaring, is how these nests are collected. And this is where the story stops being merely curious and turns dark.
Because the cost of this nest is not measured only in dollars, it is measured too in human lives. And in a moment, I'll show you the frightening human price paid for a single bowl of soup. But first, you need to understand the most absurd irony in this whole story. After all of this, the soup itself has almost no taste.
That's right. After all that price, all that fame, the bird's nest, on its own, is practically flavorless, with a somewhat gelatinous texture. It's not an explosion of taste in your mouth. It's almost neutral. That's why chefs have to clean the dried saliva in water and season everything with chicken broth, ginger, and ham to give it any flavor at all. So think about the madness of it. People pay $100 for a bowl of something that, by itself, barely tastes of anything. They aren't paying for the flavor. They're paying for the status, the tradition, the belief. They're paying for the story, not the food. And that story has a dark side that most consumers never see.
Because harvesting these nests is one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. The nests are built on the highest walls of giant limestone caves, sometimes dozens of meters above the ground, in the dark. And traditionally, collectors climb all the way up there on improvised bamboo scaffolds, fragile, swaying structures hanging over the void. They climb in the dark with a flashlight to scrape the little saliva cup off the wall. And with a sadness that must be said with respect, many of these collectors fall, many die, people risking their own lives for a small wage so that someone on the other side of the world can drink a soup of status. The most expensive nest is, so often, the one most stained with tragedy.
And it was precisely because of these deaths and to keep up with the enormous demand that the industry reinvented itself. Today, instead of risking lives in caves, many countries like Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia build entire buildings just for this, so-called birdhouses. They're concrete structures, often entire floors of a building, that play, over loudspeakers, the sound of swiftlet calls, to lure the real birds inside. The birds come in, feel at home, and build their nests there, safely, far from the cliffs. In Malaysia alone, back in 2013, there were already 60,000 of these birdhouses. Entire towns today have buildings that are, in reality, living factories of swiftlet saliva.
And after it's collected, whether from the cave or the birdhouse, there's still an enormous amount of work. Each nest is soaked in water to soften it, and then workers, with a pair of tweezers, remove by hand every little feather, every speck of dirt, thread by thread, with the patience of a jeweler. Only after that, cleaned and dried, does the nest become that luxury product, molded and packaged, ready to be sold for a fortune. So when you put it all together, the bird's saliva, the 35 days of building, the deadly danger of the harvest, or the buildings that mimic caves, and the thread-by-thread cleaning, you understand that that elegant bowl of soup carries a vast human and natural chain, hidden behind a translucent broth.
And that is what makes this story so fascinating. In the very same moment, on opposite sides of the planet, two scenes unfold, linked by this one nest. In one, an elegant person in a Hong Kong restaurant lifts to their lips a spoonful of translucent soup, a symbol of 1,000 years of refinement and status. In the other, a man hanging from a bamboo pole, in the dark of a cave, dozens of meters above the ground, risks everything to scrape that little white cup off the wall. The same small object, made of bird spit, unites the most extreme luxury and the most extreme danger. We live in a world full of these invisible connections, these absurd stories hidden in the most unlikely things. All it takes is someone to tell them. And that is why we look at the world and the things that move it in detail.
Now tell me in the comments, would you drink this soup knowing what it's made of? Write yes or no, I want to see. And what shocked you most, the fact that it's saliva or the danger to the collectors? If this story surprised you, leave a like, subscribe, and share it with that friend who loves world curiosities. It's what helps this channel grow. And don't miss the next episode with another absurd product that moves the world and that you'd never guess where it comes from. See you there, here in World in Detail.